Hey, welcome back to Autumn's Journey. We just had a big old fight, and then we were hugging Kerr, and it was a big group orgy, and everyone's in love. Moments later, the other two surrounded me and peered over my shoulders as I unfastened the latch. Earth Dragon! Using our remains for weapons? Ugh! Let's bury them, somewhere away from this battlefield, in case they decide to look for them. While Kerr fetched the mace, Ilmari and I walked until we reached the farthest fissure we could find. We were surprised by how much the region was affected by the mace's powers, and Kerr worked diligently to pry the remains from the weapon. He tossed them into the chasm. Picking up the box, he emptied it over one of the fissures. He placed an open palm on the soil, and I stepped back, preparing myself for one of his abilities. The ground trembled slightly as debris and soil was loosened, filling up a section of the rupture. When it was over, I sighed, feeling utterly exhausted. I've had enough earthquakes for one day. I'm completely shaken up. I mustered a weak giggle while Ilmari groaned. Heavenkind humor. It's bad. Kerr wiped the dirt off his hands. What now? I grabbed my knight in training badge and glanced at it. With a dismissive wave, I tossed it to the ground. Both of them were stunned. Are you sure about this? It's something you worked for. I'm sure if you return and explain it to the guild... He stopped when he saw me shake my head. No, the Argent Valaire Guild is in on this. I don't want anything to do with them or the knights. Besides, Dervishi had a point. The other knights will report what happened, and I'll have no chance to redeem myself after that betrayal. I'm done. I took a few steps forward and turned to them so I could address them properly. Let's go home. Besides, I think this is something you should inform your masters about as soon as possible. If we can't rely on the guild to build a rapport between Heavenkind and Dragonkind, we'll need another angle. We headed back to the main road, careful of the steep slope and the chasms the fight had created. The carriage was gone, and we saw no other knights. Kerr explained that he had managed to drive them off, which was why it took him a while to come to our rescue. Without my knowing, I started to linger behind the two, my feet dragging slower with each step. The other two noticed and turned worryingly.
Are you okay?
Exactly. Aura? I chuckled, trying to reassure them, but the tears appeared anyway. Yeah. I'm fine. If anything, I feel like a huge burden was lifted off my shoulders. But it still hurts. I wanted to be a knight for years, and now I'm accepting it'll never happen. I worked so hard. My shoulders shuddered, and I covered my face, feeling pathetic and worthless. I sensed someone standing before me, and I glanced up. Kerr glowered, unimpressed. He gave me a light smack to the forehead, giving me another concussion and ending the game. Ow, what was that for? Kerr? I rubbed the spot indignantly. Didn't I tell you this before? That it's just a title?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Knights are supposed to help those in need. I think a certain someone has already been a knight for a while, in spirit anyway. And in the end, you did the right thing. We can't thank you enough. Thanks. As we walked, I expressed concern over being sought out, and the others reassured me that nothing like that would happen. I did uncover a potentially unsettling activity that would need to be confronted after all. They would seek protection from other dragons to watch over Barry, and my heart sank when they avoided the notion that they would be the ones guarding. Guess they still had amends to make. Chapter something 9, yes, home. We're going home, everybody's a dragon. Let's all hump each other in a cave. Fortunately, we did not remain long in Oliver. We were able to find a Barry resident who had delivered the last of his cargo to the city, and he offered to give us a ride back. We took it easy as we relaxed on the back of the wagon. I was still emotionally fatigued, but I did my best to remain engaged in conversation, especially since it now tackled more sensitive issues, like dicks. The wagon ride was smooth, but whenever a jolt or bump happened, I would stir or bolt upward. However, I was able to have a nice nap for a little while. My eyelids fluttered as I heard Ilmari and Kerr's voices drift in and out. Bringing it up to Master Aracello, It's about time the Seraphis look beyond the Skylands.
Annoying.
Good luck getting them involved, pompous dragonkind. What really concerns me is how Heavenkind even found the Seraphis remains. They shouldn't have any means of accessing them.
Leave it to me.
I'll see if Master Bedroom will arrange a meeting. Right, and I'll have to break this to Master Kaya gently. She'll be even more reluctant getting involved. I can imagine her reaction. Oh my, this is why we shouldn't react as this. The high-pitched voice caused Ilmari to burst out laughing. How did I know? Whatever. She doesn't sound... Okay, she does. You're more observant than I thought. I heard an exasperated groan. Because she's always with Master Bedroom, and I'm stuck listening to her uptight... Oh, you're up! Plan to sleep the whole afternoon away? I yawned, rubbing my eyes as I surveyed our location. We were passing through the birch forest near Barry, and I was leaning against Kerr's shoulder. Ilmari was sitting across from us, his hands folded in his lap. He was touching himself for the last time before he became a dragon again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up. What were you two discussing?
Well...
Just a lot of stuff we have to do once we return. Sooner the better. His face fell as he said that, but he forced a smile to reassure me. And Kerr was entertaining me with his imitations. I wasn't even trying, but I could probably do better than Aura. I thought back to the scene in the forest when I poked fun at him during a meal. I admit it wasn't the most accurate impression. Kerr grinned teasingly. Hi, I'm Orly from Barry. I let my sword do the talking and ow! I elbowed him and grumbled. I deny all that. Ilmari found the whole thing amusing. Me, imitate me! Kerr and I exchanged a smirk. I have a question! I have another question! I do not ask that many questions, do I? Ilmari, that was another... Ah! The wagon bumped abruptly, and I bolted upright, clutching my chest to quell my reaction. A sturdy hand grabbed my shoulder, and Kerr eased me back to my original sitting position. You okay? It was only a jolt! I heard the driver apologize while I waited for my heart to calm down. Yeah, I just didn't expect it. As I trailed off, I turned toward Kerr, only to see his face peering at me. His face, causing my cheeks to blush. Blushu, blushu. Ilmari says, why am I here? Why am I witnessing this blushing? This blushing shit. I'm a fucking dragon. I heard a polite cough as Ilmari interrupted the flustered atmosphere. I hope you don't mind me asking, where did this fear of earthquakes originate? Well... Sorry to pry. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's alright. It's not usually brought up, since it's rare for me to get caught in earthquakes or tremors. I ummed and hummed until I figured out a good beginning point. It started when... Well... When I was younger, my family lived in Oliver. I would follow my mom everywhere when she did her patrols, or visited different places. Ah, now that I think about it... Although some parts were still hazy, I recall being thrilled because I was going somewhere that had a lot of knights. Their brilliant armor, their beautiful shining blades, and how I dragged this wooden sword awkwardly around. It was at the academy. It was being expanded upon, and some parts were in the middle of renovation. I ran off somewhere. I think I wanted to find the armor room or something. Anyway, that's when the earthquake hit.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember much, just everything seemed to collapse around me. After that, I couldn't ride in carriages or even enter large buildings without crying. Mom decided it was better for us to move away from Oliver, and the memories associated with it. It took a long time, but eventually I got over certain fears. I focused on my knight training, hoping to be stronger. Of course, my mom wouldn't send me to the academy. She's always been averse to knight academies for other reasons, but my well-being definitely was one of them. Wow, that's the first time I've ever told people this story. They're not people. Haha, aren't you too lucky? No, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you trust us enough to tell us. As an earth dragon, though, I can't stand for it. What? He gave a wry grin.
Leave it to me.
You got over some fears. If you like, I can help you get over this earthquake one. No, that won't be necessary. You sure? I'm certain if I delivered small tremors, your body will eventually get used to it. Think of it as a cure. And by tremors, I mean orgasms. That's terrible. That won't help me at all. What would you call that torment anyway? There was an awkward pause before Ilmari spoke up. Shock treatment? Haha, cat face! I groaned and shook my head, yet I couldn't help but chuckle at his feeble pun. Congratulations, Ilmari. You've mastered heavenkind humor and everything there is to know about our culture. There's nothing more to teach you. Kerr glanced between us quizzically, as if determined to figure out the pattern. I don't know, I felt the delivery was a little rocky? Wink wonk! Ilmari burst out laughing. I could only gawk at Kerr, who seemed pleased at his own joke. I made a cross with my arms. Banning this, banning puns. As we pestered each other relentlessly, I slumped down and glanced up at the sky, wondering when these interactions had become second nature and routine.